Time 6:31 on this Wednesday. David mentioned that it's quiet weather-wise here at home. Well, you know where it wasn't quiet was Washington, D.C. last night as President Biden delivered a pretty clear message to Congress in his State of the Union address. That message was, let's finish the job. But he also heard a lot of negative feedback from Republicans.
Yeah, and during his speech, the president laid out some of his administration's accomplishments now halfway through his term. And we know he did push for unity to get other key priorities across the finish line. Joe, you were here with us yesterday. We appreciate you coming back today. Mercyhurst University political analyst to break down that speech with us today.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about the president saying that Congress needs to finish the job. Talk about that and what that message means to both the Republican Party and the rest of America.
Yeah, it sounded like a president who was strongly considering about running for re-election. It's a re-election message. Whether or not he chooses to do that, I think we're going to have to wait and see. Okay. There's a lot of variables, and we're still a ways out from the presidential election, but I think that message is, at the very least, an argument to continue Democratic leadership.
And we know going into last night, one of the president's main goals was to reassure Americans about the state of the country. You know, from your perspective, do you think he successfully did that?
Yeah, again, as soon as the State of the Union began last night, it seemed to be designed for more of an election year than we're almost 2 years out.
Sure.
What I would have liked to have seen from him last night is him talking to the bigger pictures. I mean, the State of the Union is an opportunity to lay out more of a strategic plan for the United States that includes not only domestic issues but also international. And as we talked a little bit about yesterday, we have some significant international challenges. And I realize those don't always translate to votes on election day when we talk about those things, but they're nevertheless incredibly important for the nation, particularly at this moment in time.
When the president talked about Republicans, in his words, looking to sunset Medicare and Social Security, got quite the negative response, a lot of boos, but the president kind of fought back against that, kind of pushed back. Talk about how that all played out in front of the divided Congress.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm one of those people, and maybe you two are as well, that I tend to get more out of people when I am positive, I'm optimistic, I really talk to them and listen. Sure. And when we have that sort of reaction to the president and a willingness to almost taunt him from inside the chamber, I think that's a bad tone to set, and it really makes any sort of work in the future very difficult.
Where do we go from here as far as that possible 2024 run for Joe Biden now?
Yeah, gosh, I don't know. He is getting older, and unfortunately for him, he is no longer able to give the great speeches that he once gave. He's challenged in that way. So I don't know if he'll end up being the candidate, but it certainly sounded last night like he was seriously thinking about it at the very least.
Mercyhurst University senior political analyst Joe Morris, as always, we appreciate your time and your input.
And my pleasure.
All right, we're going to